The next thing we have is the roots attachment, and this is to create roots for the tree. Now for this, I'm gonna actually take one of these protrusions and call it roots. I need to generate some branches as well, so I'm gonna go to branch global and I'm gonna check branches on. Of course, I don't want to have any leaves, and I just want to have one level, right? So one level, I'm gonna go to my branch level 1 and increase the tapering all the way up to 1 or something close to 1. This will taper down, but you see that we have very thin roots here. We can control this with the branch global and reduce the branch taper bias down to 1. Also, what we can do is go to the branch level 1 and reduce the pruning so that the roots start to happen right away instead of happening at the tip of the trunk. And of course, you can just change the random seed to have a different appearance for these roots. And you can control the number of branches by going to branch level 1 and reducing or increasing if you want. You can, of course, have more than one level. You can just go to 2. And you can go to branch level 1 and play with the spread angle to have the roots like so. So these are very nice roots that I have so far. One thing I want to do, because I changed the tapering, is reduce. So here I'm gonna set the render levels to 2 as well to get branch level 2. One thing I want to do is actually inherit the parent radius, so the distribution or the radius is uniformly propagated across the branches. Alright, so now we have nice roots. I'm gonna go back to this tree and I'm gonna go down to attachments and I want to have some roots. So I'm gonna check roots attach on. I'm gonna take the roots and drag them down, and here I see that I have roots added to my trunk. The root count is dictated by this value here, which you can increase and decrease. If you increase the row count of the roots, you can go higher up to create a lot of roots. Now they're going in the wrong direction. First of all, I have to know the number of sides. So I'll set these sides for this one to 12. This has a direct relationship with the root count. So if I set the root count to 12, I'm going to have 12 roots like so, which have the same number as the sides count. So from every side, I have a root sprouting out. But first of all, I want to reduce their size, so I'll just go like this. I can make them grow by scaling. Don't forget that you can take the original root object and grow it to actually have the roots grow in a more organic manner, right? So this is a very nice way to do it. And you can actually bend the trunk to make the roots point downwards. So if you go down to bend trunk, you can just have the roots go like this, which will give you a very organic appearance. So combining this with the growth will give you a nice, very nice result. So these are the roots. Let me do one more thing, or a small animation for the growth. But before I do that, if I wanted to make my roots have a wider base, all I have to do is go to my trunk parameters for those roots and just increase the radius. Right, so now we have this. So I'm gonna go to my tree parameters and I'm gonna reduce the growth to 0, set a keyframe and go say to frame 60 and increase the growth. And I'm just gonna get the roots to grow like this. Okay, I think that's it for the roots. Of course, you can offset the position in and out. The next thing I want to talk about is the attach to top and attach to base. Now, this is very easy. And this is just to attach an element at the top of the trunk. For example, in a palm tree where you have some objects that are attached to the top. For this, I'm gonna just use a simple cube as an example. And I'll check attach on top and bring in the cube. And there's a copy of the cube at the top. The parameters we can change are the segment offset. So this will make the cube take a different attachment position. If we go to the trunk parameters and we change the turbulence, we see that the trunk is also influencing the orientation of that cube. So this is the position of that object over the trunk. And you can change the local orientation of that object as well as the size. Now notice that whenever you apply wind, the cube is going to be affected as well. So here I'm going to increase the trunk wind, and if I play the animation, I won't see a lot because it's not playing in real time. So what I'm going to do is uncheck the generate branches, and I'm going to uncheck the other attachments as well. So we have a real-time playback. Alright, so yeah, it is happening, but it's very subtle. And the reason for that is because the wind is not, for the actual trunk, is not so strong by default. Now you can increase this value, or you can just increase the global wind multiplier. I'll exaggerate it so that we see what's happening. So this is the attachment to the top. So I'm gonna add something as well to the base. So that's a pyramid, and you can attach an element to the base, and you can do the same thing. So offset it from the bottom and do the same thing as before. And of course, this is now part of the tree object. So this is for the attachments options that we have for the trunk. The next section I'm going to talk about is the hyperwind section, where we can explore the different parameters of the wind and how we can control the wind for different types of trees.